We did get some kind of a growth spurt, I guess, over the past 48 hours. A couple of our videos are starting to gain a little bit of traction, and it appears as though we're starting to reach more people. Now, in regards to that, I put up a community post yesterday, and because, of course, there are people that need saving and reaching on other platforms, TikTok included. So I opened up an account over there, and you wouldn't believe the backlash that I got from a select few in the community post. And at that point, we have to let the Holy Spirit do the rest of the work, right? But by not being there, by not having a presence over there, you're missing all those people. You guys, there are people that don't even watch YouTube. They just watch TikTok. So how are we going to reach those people if we're not over there? So I appreciate all of you that did understand. There was a lot of support on the community post, and you did understand what we're trying to accomplish here. Following the instructions set out for us by Jesus, who went to pagan weddings. He went and hung out with a lady of the night, let's call her, who had many husbands at the well. He went into the synagogues of Satan, even though he never built a church for himself. He went into their man-built churches and called them out. And for those of you that don't understand what we're trying to accomplish here, I recommend that you pray about why those negative feelings came up and what you tried to sabotage the effort and why all these accusations were manifesting out of you.
I
shall not be moved.
In the description box, there's going to be links to a few videos that I've done before talking about this particular individual. Okay, and no, it's not, the links is not going to be because of some lame attempt for me to get a few more views on my little channel. All right, I'll tell you why the links to my own videos will be in the description box. I'll tell you why it's there later.
I speak publicly through several different mediums every day of my life. And you might think that those who wish to be outraged by my comments would find more than enough new fodder every day to keep them satiated. But somehow that is not the case. The outrage mob demands even more reasons to be mad at me. And so they will not only sift through my daily comments, but they'll also dig through everything I've said over the past 10 years to find more ammunition. And this creates a situation where nearly every day I have factions of the outrage mob screaming at me because of things I said that day, and then I have other factions screaming at me arbitrarily over something I said years ago. So they'll come banging on my door, metaphorically, shouting, "Hey, remember this thing you said on September 14th, 2016? And I'll say, no, I actually don't. That was a long time ago. What are you talking about? And they'll say, well, here's what you said, and you said it, and we're mad about it 7 years later. And I'll say, okay, well, have fun with that, I guess. I don't know what to do for you. And then I'll go about my day. That's usually the way it works. But every once in a while, this randomly reignited outrage provides me with an opportunity to revisit or expand upon an important point. And that's what happened yesterday when, for some reason, my Twitter mentions became filled with people upset over something that I tweeted on March 8th, 2018. And here's the offending tweet. This was me. Video games are a sacred cow because our country is filled with adults who are obsessed with them. That's why we all pretend insanely that there's nothing wrong with or disturbing about a child spending all day killing people in a virtual world. For an example of how this works, here's what a guy named George Alexopoulos, who has a relatively large social media following apparently, here's what he tweeted at me yesterday in response to my tweet from 5 years ago. He said, quote, "Video games are a medium, not a genre, you bearded puritanical Philistine. If your child is only playing games where he's murdering people, get educated and buy him Minecraft, Rocket League, Mario Maker. Better yet, play games together and bond. Debate me, Matt." He wants to debate me about this point from 5 years ago. There was much more straw manning where that came from. The Quartering tweeted, quote, "The right's weird obsession with disavowing video games, anime, and social media is why they will never appeal to most of Gen Z. The base is literally dying off, and most of the voices in the community are actively refusing recruits." Well, with all due respect to Jeremy from the Quartering, I think it's safe to say that I have recruited more people into conservatism than he ever has or ever will. I do sometimes, I have to admit, get a little bit tired of hearing lectures on effectiveness from people who are far less effective. Like at a certain point, these people need to maybe take a second, realize that maybe you could learn something. Okay, maybe you could learn something from people who are achieving more than you are in this fight.
Matt Walsh in a skirmish with a few of his comrades because they don't like his position on video games. But what if I told y'all about a libertarian? I've said that a libertarian who, for whichever reason, is too scared to just go head on ahead and be a Republican. Now let's hear the quartering respond to Matt with lies.
Well, with all due respect to Jeremy from the quartering, I think it's safe to say that I have recruited more people into conservatism than he ever has or ever will.
Well, today, I guess, is going to be a reminder, but I try to vote for people based on what their policies are, not what letters in front of their name. I mean, if there was Democrats running on securing our border and no foreign interference or preemptive strikes, starting wars, proxy wars, things like that, I'd certainly consider voting for them. It's just that the Overton window has shifted so much that there are many things that made me liberal when I was young, like being anti-corporation, anti-establishment, anti-censorship, that are literally now exclusively right-leaning issues. And so because my opinions have not changed since I was 16 years old about these issues, suddenly now they're conservative issues. But that's actually just my opinion. I don't claim any tribe. I don't want my viewers to blindly follow me. I don't want my viewers to blindly to a lot of my viewers just who I am and the politics that I carry. I feel like I'm very transparent on this channel, but my Twitter followers are different. A lot of people falsely assume that because I cover topics that conservatives are also covering, that I must be a staunch conservative. This is not something I've literally ever said. And my viewers know this. I'm not a liberal either. And like many of my viewers, I am politically homeless. I suppose I'm the closest to libertarian.
Why do they throw in that libertarian thing? I've heard a lot of conservatives do that. Republican right-wing conservatives like the quartering, pretending to not understand why Matt threw conservative at him. But me, I know why he did it. Matt tossed conservatism in his face because everything that the quartering says, does, and believes in is likened to that of the right wing. A libertarian is someone who has found a place to hide their republicanism.
And let me just explain something to you. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I want you to understand. This is what's critical. I don't want to be doctrinaire. I am not a Republican, though you might say, there's a definite a tendency for him to perhaps espouse those things which have been prototypically Republican. Okay. And sometimes the libertarians will say, I think he's a rather libertarian. He has a kind of a live and let live thing. Yes.
There's that libertarian thing again. A lot of right-wing people like Lionel does that. All right, but like I've said before about Lionel, Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy. The My Pillow guy, he wouldn't be paying Lionel to advertise his stuff if he didn't see that Lionel was a Republican. Yeah, the Pillow guy. Mike Lindell, the Pillow guy, has Lionel promoting his products. Lionel takes commercial breaks during his live streams to promote the Pillow guy, who everybody knows is a Republican.
He's here someplace, Governor Stitt. And by the way, I notice a patriot in our midst, Mike Lindell. Will you stand up? He's a patriot. He's a patriot. He's a great guy, too. He spent his life, over 2 years, he spent a whole life, I will tell you, what he does and what he goes through, what he believes. He's a great patriot. Thank you, Mike, very much.
God's chosen. Some of you have heard me talking about him a few times before on this channel. but his name is not God's chosen. And I've never showed people who I was talking about, but I will today. God's chosen is just what I call him, because he lies and says that everything he does was revealed to him by the Holy Spirit, especially when someone catches him misleading people. When somebody catches him misleading people, he'll pull the Holy Spirit made me do it routine. I'm just doing what Jesus would do. Like when somebody got after him about urging people to subscribe to him on TikTok, even after he said 1,000 times that those places are the matrix, and he said that people need to stay out of the matrix. And after getting called out on that, he said he was just doing like Jesus would do when Jesus went into the lion's den and into the synagogue of Satan where the bad people were. He said he's on TikTok to save souls like Jesus did. I ain't lying, he said that. Anything he do, he puts God, Jesus, or the Holy Spirit in front of it or behind it. Lying. That's why I call him God's chosen. God's chosen's name is EnterTheStars. That's his YouTube username, and I'm going to put a link to one of his videos in the description box. So if you see EnterTheStars down there, that's him. Now, God's chosen is one who loves to pretend that he's not part of the left-right paradigm. 3 of his favorite words in the whole wide world are left-right paradigm. Get away from the left-right paradigm. Avoid the left-right paradigm. Don't get trapped in the left-right paradigm. Get out of the left-right paradigm. I'm not part of the left-right paradigm.
So they're setting this up for the battle of the alleged assault charges, right? Biden accuser Tara Reade posts cryptic message about death before potentially testifying to Congress. Wow, let's read what's going on with Bo Jivin. Now, I can already tell you what's going to happen. Biden won't even see any court or any charges on this stuff. And then those of us on the right will scream, unfair, unfair. And this will further strengthen Trump's base.
Us who are Republicans, he said. I put my own videos in the description box because I go into a lot more examples of God's chosen pretending to not be a Republican. So those few seconds I played, I don't want nobody thinking that I used those few seconds to get some I got you moment and took his words out of context. Now, here goes some more seconds that's not a I got you moment.
We are live. And what you're going to hear today is some pretty shocking information. And I just want to give a little bit of a prerequisite to today's show and let you know that the things that you're going to hear might upset you. But understand that as morally conservative people on this channel, as most of the people that come to this channel lean to the right.
Now, why would the majority of God's chosen's listeners be conservative and on the right or right-leaning? And never mind that part he said about morally conservative, because throwing in morally is just another way they hide what they are, like when they say that they're libertarian. And if it's a thing about morally, then why add right-leaning on there? Why add that? Sounds like right-left paradigm minded to me. But why would the majority of God's chosen's listeners be conservative and right-leaning? Well, for the same reason Mike Lindell sponsors Lionel's channel. For the same reason Matt Walsh spoke at the quartering about how he's strengthened their base. There are a few reasons that they do this pretending, and none of those reasons are with good intentions. The left-right paradigm. Picture 3 train tracks. People on the left, people who are on the right, and in the middle, the non-affiliates of neither party, or people who couldn't give one damn about politics or politicians. And I think the ones who drive the trains are called engineers, if I'm not mistaken. Right, but these train tracks, they're how politics work. And you're on the track regardless, because if you live here, the policies affect your daily, even if you realize it or not. Any day of the week, a train is coming down the track you're standing or sitting on. That's how this works. So saying I'm not part of the left-right paradigm, 2 wings on the same bird, makes no sense. To choose the lesser of 2 evils means nothing at the end of the day. And people keep saying that. I'm not part of the left-right paradigm, 2 wings on the same bird. So what? That's what I'm saying. So what? It don't mean nothing at the end of the day saying that. It don't mean nothing at all because you're on the track anyway. You're on the track anyway. And I don't use the trains to say that you need to pick a side, right? Because this is not a pick a side type of commentary. The train analogy is saying that it doesn't make a difference if you don't have a side or you don't care about politics. This commentary is also to say that we're all going to get ran over anyway by these engineers, right, left, or non-affiliate. Because their aim is to run us all over, all of them. So saying you're not part of the right or the left doesn't mean that you're out of this mess that the people on the right or the left are in. I talk about how there's no escape and how the few or the 1% pretty much have all bases covered. But not every base, but pretty much every base. How the people who we let run this place got land, sea, and air on the menu. And there will be no going to flee into the woods to escape it. Solar power generators won't stop it. Guns won't get you out of the matrix. There is no escape. Moving to another country cannot assist you. Nothing can. Nothing escaping here. Right? The people who appear to be neutral and on nobody's side, they do have a side. Because the few, they've made sure that no one escapes the left-right paradigm.